So the Hillary Bridge is
the
one
bridge
Q1?
was about as high as the Q1 on the Gold Coast
Wow.
and 60 meters long, and the fucking thing swings. And it was windy. And I hate heights. Like, heights is by far probably my greatest fear alongside spiders. All I could think in my head was like, I've wanted this my whole life. I've planned such a special moment around it, and now I'm not going to get there. And that disappointment was like, fuck, what do you mean? I'm a few days away from standing at the base of that mountain and I'm sick.
We just got a helicopter to frickin' base camp.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
It's like
It was wild.
you couldn't read about it.
Yeah.
And next minute, what would have taken us still a few days on foot, like hustling, working our asses off, struggling to breathe, all the things. We've literally got a bird's eye view of it.
Yeah.
This was the goal outcome to get here.
Yeah.
And we got there,
We still got the goal.
but not in the way that we imagined it or thought it to be.
And here is the lesson in business.
Well, this is the lesson in life too. Like, sometimes we have an idea of how we're going to get somewhere and we think that we have to go that way.
Welcome back to another episode of Beyond Your Breath podcast. I am Shanni.
And I am Chris.
And we are going to do an episode on our magical trip to Nepal.
Magical. I have to laugh. Soul sucking, challenging, liberating, all the things in one trip.
Now, wait. Nepal, we went to Nepal. But when I say Nepal, we actually attempted the Mount Everest Base Camp trek.
Yeah.
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 Take it away, babe.
Bucket list for me.
Yes.
Like, when I met Shanni, she was so against it. I was like, babe, I want to do this. I've been thinking about this my whole life. I have this strange fascination with this ginormous mountain. And I don't know why I feel like that.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed with it. Like, and I mean obsessed. Like, I don't know if you've ever had like a weird like obsession.
Mine's Egypt.
Yeah, but I literally would just like research it and go down YouTube rabbit holes and watch docos. Like, anyway, I wanted to see it with my own eyes. And so I influenced Shanni to come, long story short. I sold her the dream. And what happened next?
We arrived in Kathmandu. I actually didn't know a whole lot about Nepal before Chris. And so in the preparation to doing the trek, we did breath work, like we really attempted to train as best we could and learnt that it doesn't matter how much you train, you never know what's going to happen.
Nope.
But we got to Kathmandu and it was actually a little bit of a culture shock for me because when we were researching and training and watching these things, I was looking at the Himalayas and these mountains, and then I arrived in Nepal, and it's you know,
Very third world.
Very third world, very dirty, very all over the place, and so I was a bit like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was. It was a massive culture shock, and I think for me and you too, like we're very much people who love bodies of water, the beach, and so it kind of gave me like run down Bali vibes, but there was no beach to go to.
Yeah.
It was a concrete jungle, and it was a culture shock, and I like getting culture shocks.
Absolutely.
Because it does continually teach me and keep me grateful for what we have.
Absolutely.
So that part of it was interesting.
Mm-hmm. And then it got more interesting.
Let me take you on a journey. So to start the trek, we had a lovely guy who was our guide called Raj. Amazing dude.
Shout out to Raj. He's amazing.
Raj. If you're listening, we love you, brother.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to get back and see you sometime soon. Raj was amazing, and we met Raj before. He sort of prepped us for what to expect and what the itinerary looked like, and so we had to get up pretty early on day one. And head to the domestic airport in Nepal. Now, the airport that we were flying into is a place called Lukla, which is about 2,700 meters, 2,700 meters above sea level. Yes, if we're down here at sea level, 2.7
What
kilometers
is that
up,
like in a
2
landmark? Like how
well, the Q
higher
one's
than...
the Q one's 800 meters.
Yeah, wow.
So then go 1, 2, 3 and a
Three
bit,
Q1s.
3 and a bit on the
That
Gold
is a
Coast.
high up.
Start point.
Yeah.
So Lukla is the most dangerous airport in the world to land into, purely because it's nestled in the mountains. There's a lot of cloud that sort of goes through there, so visibility can be quite tough. And the runway literally, when you land, goes upwards on a hill.
It does.
And when you take off, you go downwards. And when you fly out there, you fly in these tiny little planes. Thankfully, we didn't fly in one of those planes.
No, we didn't.
But caveat to that was the weather was really bad, visibility-wise, when we were trying to depart. So we were there at like 5 in the morning. And 8 hours later, with no Wi-Fi, nothing.
Nothing. We're still
We're
at this
sitting
little
in this
airport.
fucking airport. And if you know me, that is like the definition of hell for me. Like boredom is a death sentence. And I have no internet. Shanni's just like taking it in her stride, reading her Kindle. And I was like, fuck this shit.
I nearly read a whole book that day.
Anyway, so we get towards the end of the day and they're like, guys, we're not going to be able to go today. And I'm just fucking steaming. I'm like, mind you, it's out of my control. But I'm like, this sucks. And then I heard in the grapevine that, you know, sometimes when the weather's not great, they take helicopters. So I said to Raj, I said, can we take a helicopter? And he's like, yeah, it's just $600. I'm like, why the fuck didn't you tell me this like hours ago?
Like
so we took a
halfway
helicopter
through the day.
at the very end of the day. Didn't want to wait. So we took a helicopter and we landed in Lukla. And that was probably one of the coolest parts of the trek.
That was out of the whole trek, and another part that's coming later, that was my favorite part. When we landed in Lukla, that to me felt like the real Nepal. That was the moment when we were in the mountains and
The Himalayas.
the Himalayas and the stone path and the little villages with the cute little cottages. It was just and then because it was late in the afternoon, we literally had dinner in this beautiful lodge and then just started off on foot for a 3-hour trek into the night. And I loved it so much.
Yeah, it was so cool.
Yeah.
It was so cool. It was like a postcard,
Yeah,
literally,
it was.
and it was quiet. Like
So quiet.
So yeah, we arrived at our next place called Pak Ding.
That's right. I was trying to remember the name of it the other day.
Ding.
Pak Ding.
Yeah, and that was actually, we ended up going down a couple of hundred meters.
Yeah.
So it was about 2,400 meters above sea level. And that's where we stayed for our first night.
I just remember like walking into that and like it was pitch black at one point and we had head torches on and it was just like you'd just be walking and then all of a sudden you'd come into these little villages and you would just see little lights nestled in the mountains.
Yeah, everywhere.
It was just so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you arrive at these places and there's other people that are trekking along, and it was super cool. So we stayed there night one and we were feeling pretty good, you know, going from 0 meters to 2,700 meters. Like I
honestly felt alive.
Yeah.
I felt so good.
And keep in mind, like there's already less oxygen than at sea level at that point, but we were feeling good. So much so that I hadn't taken any altitude sickness medication.
I
Shanni had.
started.
Chris being a hero. Well, didn't that bite me in the ass later? Anyway, we woke up and that was the first time that we really got to see like some of the true scenery of the Himalaya, the big mountains and like just waking up and like these enormous, powerful pieces of rock just like surrounding you. There's just this energy to it.
Yeah.
So we took off and that day.
It was one of the hardest days of my life.
Like, we're fit.
7 hours.
But 7 hours.
Up.
And the thing is that you're not actually traveling that many kilometers, but the incline is insane.
Yeah.
So we went from 2,400 meters up to about 3.5.
3.5, I think, yeah.
Up to a place called Namche.
Yeah, but hang on, you're skipping one of my favorite parts, babe. When the Hillary Bridge.
I was trying to not tell them about that. So think of it like this, right? In 7 hours, we ascended another 1.2 kilometers up. So we arrived, and I'll get there. We arrived in this place called Namche Bazaar, which is this incredible little village,
Little city.
nested. Like it's so cool. It's like lively. There's pubs. You can get massage. We got massages when we got there.
Yeah.
But it's about 3,500 meters above sea level, and it's nestled in the mountains on the hillside. Amazing. One of the hardest days of our lives, trekking up and up and up.
To get there.
And going up in altitude quite a lot, quite fast.
Yeah, I got very slow at certain points. Like when we say it's uphill, it's not
fucking uphill.
It's up. Like there were points where I was literally hands
it's
climbing big things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, the only way to get there, and there's a lot of suspension bridges along the way that they go from one side to the other, but we had to go across this suspension bridge called the Hillary Bridge. The Hillary Bridge is a 60-meter long steel suspension bridge between one mountain and another mountain, and it is over 100 meters high. 60 meters long, 100
high is
meters
that?
above the ground.
It's
huge.
Like what height? As in like what?
Wait, I just realized what I said about the Q1 before.
Yeah. So it was one Q1.
It's more than that. Like when we arrived at what's the first place?
Lukla.
I think the Q1's like 100 meters. So it was 27.
Right. So it's like 27 Q1s
up.
That's wow.
Yes.
That's hectic.
Full on. I just realized. Okay, so
the Hillary Bridge is one
The bridge
Q1?
was about as high as the Q1 on the Gold Coast.
Wow.
And 60 meters long, and the fucking thing swings. And it was windy. And I hate heights. Like, heights is by far probably my greatest fear, alongside spiders. And so
I'm all good.
as we're walking along with Raj, and there's this huge stairway that goes up to the Hillary Bridge, and he's like, "That's the Hillary Bridge," and I was like, "You're fucking kidding me!" Like, there was a little one below it. He's like, "That's the old one. We're going up there," and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then I just went like tunnel vision, and I was like in the zone. I'm like, "All right, there's only one way here, and it's across. I got to do it." So we got up the top, and as I walking across, my legs were so tight.
Yeah.
I had Shanni, we had Shanni arm in arm.
Yeah.
And all I could say across the whole thing was like, "Oh, babe.
Oh, babe. Oh, babe.
Oh, babe. Oh, babe." And I'm an internalizer normally when I'm stressing, but this was so full on that I was externalizing. I'm like, I can't look down because all I could hear was the rushing river down below, 100 meters. I'm like, if this thing snaps, I'm plummeting to my death. Like, that's it. So anyway, we got across that, and that was like, for me, that was a big achievement.
Yeah.
That was like full blown like courage facing my fear there, because every part of me was like, you don't need it.
I just wish I could film it, like, because I had you clutched onto one arm and I had to use the other arm to balance. I just wish I had a spare arm just to film your process, because it was so funny to watch back.
So we made it across that. We got up to Namche, and it was, just such a cool place. And
Namche was beautiful.
the next day, we had an acclimatization day, or as Shanni calls it, alchemization days. She wants to alchemize. Babe, are we alchemizing here today?
I got the word wrong.
So we did an acclimatization day, which meant that we went up higher. You spend the day going up higher, and then you come back down to get used to altitude.
This was one of my favorite things.
Yeah, it was so good.
So good.
So we went up to about 4,000 meters. And this is where we got our first view of Everest. Very steep, up to a place called Everest View Hotel. And that was such a cool moment to like get up there and see the peak of it in the distance, but then realize when you're at 4,000 meters, how big that thing is. Like it is mind boggling to think that it's over double the height that you're already at. And I just couldn't wrap my head around like the people that summit it. I was like, this is insane. It just gave me so much perspective.
Yeah.
And that was another hard day. I actually
you really
started to notice some signs, but we weren't really sure what it was. Like, was it, I was still drinking coffee, so obviously coffee makes you breathe a little bit faster.
As well.
So we were like, okay, maybe I'm already, taking in, at that level, above sea level, you're taking in about, close to 50% of the oxygen that you take in at sea level, I think. So like naturally you're already harder for air.
Yeah, that was the day where I was like, even just on like flatter surface, I was like really slow.
Yeah.
One,
You have to go
two.
slow.
Yeah, I made a doggy friend though.
You did.
Followed me for ages.
And I just remember Raj being like, just go slow.
Yes.
And I'm a person that goes fast at everything in life. So that was a
Yes.
real challenge for me to walk like a fucking granddad.
And
like,
I think this
it
was
so
where,
hard.
like, these were the first signs of altitude sickness for you because you had like the dizzies and you felt unwell.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was at that point where I didn't really know like what was causing it. And that day it was funny. Like I had that moment where I sat down for a bit and felt a bit woozy, but then I got over it.
Yeah. It was
I
like
felt
in
good.
waves. Yeah.
And then, so we came back and came down back into Namche and we had some food. Mm-hmm. And we went up and went to bed and naturally we're just shattered after all this trekking.
Absolutely
like,
shattered.
So tired. So we were ready to get a pretty early night and then started feeling unwell. And I actually remember I fell asleep for a bit.
Yeah, you did.
And then I woke and I was like, I don't feel good. And long story short, ended up in the bathroom, vomited twice. And then I felt like someone had literally just put a band around my head and just like tightened it as hard as possible. And I just remember thinking, fuck, I just feel really unwell. And that progressively just got worse. And one of the things that we also realized at sea, like at that type of altitude is because you're getting less oxygen in, you're getting less oxygen to the frontal lobes of the brain. So the part of the brain that stops emotional impulses and is able to regulate emotional responses isn't working as well.
Yeah.
So I was crying, sobbing.
A lot.
Like,
and constantly.
But here's why. Shanni didn't know it yet, but I was planning a proposal. And I was overwhelmed with disappointment that it wasn't going the way that I thought it was going to go. So that was hitting me extra hard, about 4,000 meters above sea level. And all I could think in my head was like, I've wanted this my whole life. I've planned such a special moment around it. And now I'm not going to get there. And that disappointment was like, fuck, what do you mean? I'm a few days away from standing at the base of that mountain and I'm sick. When you've trained for it, when you've mentally prepared for it, when you've felt the pull to it.
This is a head fuck.
It was.
Yeah.
So we had days in lieu and Raj, bless him, was like, we can just rest for a day. So I was like, okay, cool. Like all I need to do is focus on getting better. And long story short, I wasn't getting better. No. I wasn't getting better. And it got to the point where
I was completely fine. I was like holding the fort. I was like going into town and I was like, okay, where can I find oxygen tanks? I can like hook Chris up to an oxygen tank for an hour. Then he'll feel better. Then he will like be ready to go again. I was like putting all the wheels in motion.
Shanni barely even trained for it. I was the one like going hard. She was the one that was worried about getting altitude sickness. I'm like, we're going to be fine, babe. It's all good.
I didn't get it at all.
Yeah. But
I remember when you had the pulse oximeter put on you, and yours was like super low, and then
81%.
Mine went on, and I was like 97. I was like solid.
Yeah, you were adjusting quite well, actually, which was great because at that point I was like, I do not want her to feel like this. Like it was a different kind of sickness. I can't describe it. If you've had altitude sickness and mountain sickness, you'd know. And as I wasn't getting better, I had to make the really hard choice to go, well, fuck, if it's not going to finish, then I at least want to make a positive of this. And so I thought, I'm going to propose here. Now, in my head, I was talking to a friend of mine, Phil, who's done the trek heaps of times. He's given me some hot spots to propose. And and here I am thinking, I'm just literally going to be doing this from my fucking bed in this shack of a room.
Were you thinking about like the day before and how we went to the Everest view and like fuck? Why
I was replaying all of it.
Yeah.
All of it. Now, Shanni packs our bags everywhere we go, like, and she is all over everything always. So the engagement ring was hiding inside of my electric shaver bag, this drawstring bag. Credit to Abby. We literally put it in there the night before. She's like, what about your shaver bag? I'm like, she'll never look in there.
Yeah. And like that's the thing, I would never look in.
So I sat up, very upset. And I said to Shanni, I need you to get my shaver bag. And she looked at me and was like, not now, babe. You don't need to do
I
that.
don't think you need to be worrying about that right now,
And
babe.
I was like, there's something I need to do. Get my shaver bag.
Took a couple of goes. You're like, just get the bag, Shanni.
I was feeling like shit. I was so weak, and I was like, get the bag, Shanni. Like, just get the bag. And anyway, I think you kind of caught on at that point.
I was like, oh, he really wants the bag.
So, with that being said, she got the bag, and I proposed.
Yeah,
And,
it was beautiful.
You know, even though it wasn't like this insanely scenic backdrop, or you know, we didn't get any footage of it, but it was really just raw and real in the moment. And you know what, I'm glad, because I had people ask me, and they were like, you know, did you think about maybe just not doing it and then picking another location? And I said, no.
Yeah.
No way. Like, there's no way I was going to let that happen. So to me, even though I was in the worst of states, like, it was still a really awesome moment.
It was so beautiful, and it was so raw and real. Like, there was so much emotion, and even afterwards, like, because I was still well, I like went out, got myself a hot chocolate, went out walking through the town with my ring, and I'm like, life is so great. He's going to feel awesome tomorrow morning. We're going to keep going.
And then it got worse. I was very sick. Didn't want any food. Shanni went down and had some food.
Because I was on a date with my ring.
And then that night, she got food poisoning.
The most horrendous food poisoning that I have ever had in my life. I've had food poisoning a few times. Like, I've gotten sick in Thailand. I've had barley belly. Me and that's a whole thing. But it was like a solid 12 hours of
Vomiting
just
out the other end.
purging in every direction. And at one point, I went to the toilet. Now, in the bathroom, it's so tiny. So when you sit on the toilet, your knees are touching the wall. And I'm like there with the bucket and on the toilet, and I like vomited and I headbutted the wall. And I just heard Chris cracking up laughing in the other room, and I'm like, this is...
Oh, yeah, because I was actually starting to feel a little
You were
bit
feeling
better
a bit
at that
better
point.
at
So
that
I could
point.
actually, you know, I thought I was on the way up, and then Shanni was on the way down. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, like,
Yeah.
we're really copping it here.
Yeah.
But you got so sick.
So sick.
And thankfully, we got upgraded to a room that had our own
bathroom.
ensuite.
Yeah, because we didn't have that
no,
when we first
not
got
the first night. It was shared. Can you imagine how bad that would have been?
Yeah, I know.
All night, I shit you not, all night, Shanni was like up and down,
Yeah,
pardon
constantly.
the pun. Like, up
Constantly.
and down. And
There was one point where like I stopped purging, needing the toilet, but I was still constantly vomiting like every half an hour. And I just remember at one point the electricity went out in the whole hotel, which meant the water stopped working.
Yeah.
So I couldn't flush the toilet, I couldn't use a sink, and I couldn't use the shower.
So imagine there is toilets full of diarrhea and buckets full of vomit and nowhere to flush it. No water.
Nowhere to put it.
And we are just at
Tiny
this
little
point.
cabin room.
And then Shanni realized that the emotional thing is actually a thing, and she started
I
crying,
was
got really
bawling
emotional.
my eyes out.
It's
I'm
a
like,
thing.
I want to go
It's a thing.
home.
So that was crazy, and you know, I then let Raj know that Shani's gone downhill. And luckily we had a day in lieu, so we were gonna just let you rest.
Yeah.
And
And then you started going downhill again.
yeah, and then I just noticed that I wasn't right. I'm like, I just don't feel right. I don't feel good. I'd have these waves of like, I can do this. No, I can't. No, I can do this. And I think I was just fighting against my body.
Yeah.
And the amount of dehydration that you had and the state that your body was in,
I was not in a good
it
way.
wouldn't have been smart to move any higher, put it that way. So we made the really heartbreaking decision to just accept that we weren't going to get there. And that was a really hard decision to make. But that's when things took a really interesting turn, which has kind of become like a little bit of a metaphor for life, really, and business and all things. But basically, what had happened was they were going to helicopter us back to Nepal in Kathmandu.
Emergency helicoptering.
And in order to, claim it on insurance, you have to be there for 24 hours in hospital. So we're like, okay, cool, we've accepted our fate. And to get to the helicopter pad, you had to walk another 3 kilometers with a 800-meter
30.
elevation again.
A 30-minute incline.
It's insane. Like, and there was just no way it was happening. So long story short, we paid for the shortcut there, and we paid for horses, and we rode by horseback.
Nepalese Uber.
And we rode them up, and we got in this. We were waiting for this helicopter, and then when the guy arrived, he's like, "Hey, I hope you don't mind, but we've got to drop some supplies up to Everest Base Camp." And I looked at Shanni and I was like,
Bum, bum, bum.
I was like, "Oh, I mean, fuck. Like, if you're quick, I mean, I'm in a bit of a bad way."
Yeah. Like, we just got a helicopter to frickin' base camp.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
It's like
It was wild.
you couldn't read about it.
Yeah.
And next minute, what would have taken us still a few days on foot, like hustling, working our asses off, struggling to breathe, all the things. We've literally got a bird's eye view of it.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is this mountain, this many meters high. This is this mountain, this is this mountain. And he's just taken us through this whole journey.
Yeah.
Better than we could have ever seen it on foot.
Yeah.
And there we are, touchdown at Everest Base Camp.
And we were right in base camp. So when
Yeah.
you trek, you go to the famous rock, which is just outside of the actual camp. But we actually got to go right into the center where all the domes are. And
Summoners are ready to go.
Oh my God, it was so cool.
Like right there before where they make their way across the Khumbu icefall, that
Yeah.
first part on the way out, and you could see the icefall, and it was just like so surreal to go, hold up a second, like this was the goal outcome to get here.
Yeah.
And we got there,
We still got the goal.
but not in the way that we imagined it or thought it to be.
And here is the lesson in business.
Well, this is the lesson in life too. Like sometimes we have an idea of how we're going to get somewhere and we think that we have to go that way. And the first thoughts when I got sick and getting a helicopter there was like, yeah, I made it there, but I didn't earn it. I didn't deserve it. And that was some really old patterns for me coming up, you know, and I had to really question myself on that. Like, who says that you don't deserve it just because you didn't struggle your way there? And that was a lot for me to reflect on because they were patterns that I was unlearning when growing Infinity. Like Infinity was growing fast and I was working out that, yeah, you do have to work hard in certain aspects, but it's about working smarter. It's about working less. And we had learnt, you know, that fast tracking it means like hiring mentors and doing the who, not how method and hiring the right people.
Yeah.
And so it was like this remembering of like, I remember, like this is what I'm here to learn.
Yeah.
This is part of my journey while I'm on earth is that you don't have to work yourself to the death to achieve certain things.
Yes.
You need to work smarter.
Pay for the fast track.
And you absolutely fucking deserve it
yes.
if you've done the work to afford to be there and take a fucking helicopter.
Take the damn helicopter.
Take it. It's a metaphor for life. And I even shared this in my Dreamfest pitch,
Yeah.
my keynote, sorry.
Yeah.
It's just like, it was so profound for us to just be there. And it put a really nice end to a very shitty situation.
Even following that, we went to spend like the allocated 24 hours in hospital, but then had to stay for 48 hours because I was so unwell.
Yeah.
And my body was really struggling. And so like we still had such a journey even after that.
Oh, I came good like that.
Yeah.
So I'm in a Nepalese hospital room for
We got
48
to have a
hours.
shared room. It was actually very...
It was good, and credit to them. They looked after us really well.
Very
Like,
well. I was actually very impressed because they treat you medically as well as holistically. So they'll give you your antibiotics, but then they'll also give you probiotics and like other natural supplements as well. Like I was so impressed.
They were good. And that particular hospital specializes in people coming down for mountain sickness.
Yeah, that's
so
mountain hospital.
it was good. It was really good, and very grateful for their team there. They got us on track probably a lot quicker than we would have.
They wanted me to stay a further 24 hours, but
Yeah.
I lied because I wanted to get out of there.
She's like, I'm not still shitting water.
I was.
I'm like, you can come and shit water at the hotel.
Yeah. we moved our flights earlier to get home.
Yeah. What a journey.
Yeah, it was.
So many lessons out of it. And memories that I'll hold pretty near and dear.
Absolutely.
I still look back on the photos every now and then, and I just think like we went over there and we did that. Mm-hmm. And it was the most out of the box, unique type of trip.
It was, yeah.
Completely different to like your standard holiday. But it was so good
It was.
in so many ways. It was challenging.
Yeah.
It was rewarding.
Yeah.
It was fucking soul destroying at certain parts. It was just like,
Definitely solidified ourselves as life partners
oh yeah,
in sickness and in health.
like, yeah, we'd seen everything by that point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And heard everything. Oh, yuck.
Oh, I'm still traumatized. I can still hear it. I can still hear your head banging against the wall. But you know what? Like, what a story.
Yeah.
And I think when you're in situations like that, not that you can really see it at the time because you can't see the picture when you're in the frame, but
Of course.
I think there was a part of us at one point where we actually said, like, this is going to make a good story one day. We tell the story all the time at all of our trainings.
Yeah.
And it always lands for people because I think it's just such an important message.
Absolutely. I agree. I love this story.
It's a great one.
Yeah.
It's great to just relive it
Yeah.
and retell it and have a laugh.
I want to have a look at the photos after this, I think.
Yeah, it's very nostalgic.
Yeah.
Yeah, good to reminisce on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I loved our daily vlogs. If anyone wants to scroll far enough back in
they're in there.
my Instagram, I did daily vlogs and they are hilarious.
Enough said, go watch them. But if you're thinking about doing it, like, absolutely give it a go. Like,
Highly recommend,
Yeah.
and I do highly recommend 3 things. So learning breathwork practices to support your training at sea level, so you can actually what's the word where you simulate high altitude at sea level using breathwork, which is really cool. I also highly recommend going to an altitude room and jumping on the step master or something where you're walking and you're climbing in an altitude room.
because that's like when we talk about adaptations and like getting your body prepped for something, that's literally what it is.
Yeah.
Like stepping up incline
Yeah.
at altitude. There'd be no better representation of how to train for it.
Yeah. And the third thing I would recommend for training is getting your body used to eating carbs and less protein. Not doing that too much though, just like in little intervals, just have like a couple of days where you just do veg or something. Because one thing that I learned is not to eat the meat from the minute you arrive in Lukla
In the mountains.
because they have Nepalese Uber, which is everything gets delivered on horseback or donkey back. And the further you get into the mountains, the less fresh your meat is.
Yeah.
And so we did get the recommendation, which we absolutely did not follow, to not eat meat from Lukla. The last resort was Namche Bazaar. And I was like, oh, I'll be fine. I'll just not eat meat from Namche. No, I should have not eaten meat from Lukla. Yeah. So, yeah, a little bit of extra training would be to just have a couple of days here and there where you would just eat veggie, just so you could get used to that feeling in your body.
Yeah. That's not health advice. Eat your protein every
Oh,
other
yes,
time.
absolutely.
But when you go to the mountains, maybe not.
Yeah.
Stick to potato, rice, veg,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can actually, in Kathmandu, you can buy tins of salmon and tuna and stuff. So you stock up on that sort of stuff. Love reminiscing with you.
Great chat, eh?
Yeah.
Great chat. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening.
And if you love this podcast, please like, subscribe, follow, share with your friends, because the more you push it out, the more we'll do.